Okay, we are open up to the next clean page in our math notebooks. And this is what our title will be at the top. So 8.6, area of a rectangle, 2/16/2021. You've had multiple minutes to do that. Go ahead. Max, are you heading over to the 6th grade room today? Okay. Okay, sounds good. All right, give me a thumbs up, 5th grade, when you have our title and today's date at the top. Perfect, thank you. Awesome, thank you. Thank you, 5th grade. So like I was saying, today we're going to be combining two skills. We're first going to be obviously using multiplying fractions, but then we're also going to combine that with finding the area of a rectangle. So we're combining those two skills together. I see a few people finishing up their heading. We'll wear that appropriately, or I will give you a disposable mask. Thank you. All right, so 8.6, area of a rectangle, 2/16/2021. And we are going to be getting right into the formula. So when we find the area of a rectangle, we're taking the length times the width. And some of you may be thinking, Miss E, I already know this. It's a good reminder. So our formula, or our equation, when we find the area of a rectangle, is we take the area, or to find the area, we take the length times the width of a rectangle. So you can remember it as A equals L times W. And the A stands for area, the L stands for length, and the W stands for width. Give me a thumbs up when you have that formula written down. And make sure you're writing A equals L times W, that you are labeling what each of those letters represents. Area, length, and width. We'll see you in a little bit, Max. Awesome, you guys. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. I see a few people finishing up the formula. All right. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. So, no, we're not doing perimeter today. Perimeter today. We're just doing area. So, this is the example we will be using. And you can see I have the steps written off to the right. So, first of all, we have a rectangle. When we look at a rectangle, the part going left to right, that is our length. So we can see in this rectangle, our length is 3/4 of a centimeter. Wow. And then our width, going up and down, is 1/2 of a centimeter. So length goes left to right, width goes up and down. Now you might want to say that going up and down is height, but actually, because it's 2D, we can really call it width. It's not really tall, it's flat.
What if we change it like this?
So then, our steps will be, this is what we will be doing with our length and our width here. We'll be writing out our formula, A equals L times W. Then we're going to fill in the numbers. So after we rewrite our formula, then we're going to put the numbers in where they're supposed to go. So the length will go where the L is in the formula, and the width will go where the W is in the formula. And then finally, we're going to write the answer with unit, and that's a 2, unit squared. Does anyone know why when we write the area, we write the unit with that little 2 at the top of it, that exponent 2, that squared symbol? That's a 2. So we write the answer with unit squared. So whatever the unit is, we square it. Does anyone know why we do that when it comes to area? Why don't you turn and whisper to the person next to you? Why do you think we do that? Not just because we do. Think of an actual explanation. Why do you think we would do this? Look at what we're doing. Think if you can come up with an explanation. Ready to rock? Does anyone have an idea as to why we put that 2 there? Michael? Oh, not necessarily 2 different lengths, but 2 different what? Mackenzie? Not denominators. What's it? Because these aren't both length, right? One is length, the other is width. What do we call length and width? They're 2 different whats. Yosius? Not area. Starts with a D. Think about shapes. We can have shapes with 2 of these. We can have shapes with 3 of these. Have you heard of a 2D shape before? 2 dimensions. So when we, 5th grade, are finding the area of a shape, we're using the length and the width to find it. So 2 dimensions, we have to square it, a 2. Now, let's say this was a 3D shape and we had 3 dimensions. What do you think we would be putting there instead? A 3, because we are finding the area of a 3-dimensional shape. Does that make sense? So, 2 dimensions, when we're finding the area, we put the exponent 2. If there were 3 dimensions, then we would put the exponent 3. Does that make sense a little bit? Okay. So, let's go ahead and use these steps with our example. So, what's our first step? On the count of 3, let's read it out loud. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's write our formula. Step 1.
Can we write it as like a different fraction? Like, like the different way of writing it. Like not like.
Let's follow the steps first. Okay? All right, so step 1, we're writing our formula. A equals L times W. Area equals length times width. Now, 5th grade, is this how we find the area of every single type of shape there is? No, there are actually different formulas depending on the shape. But for rectangles, this is the formula we use. Area equals length times width. Give me a thumbs up when you have that formula written down. Awesome. Awesome. Good. So then, on the count of 3, let's read out step 2 together. 1, 2, 3. Yep, fill in the numbers. So, for step 2, we are filling in our numbers. So, we don't know what the area is, so we're keeping that as A. But we know that L, the length, is 3/4 of a centimeter. And we know that W, the width, is 1/2. So, A equals 3/4 times 1/2. Give me a thumbs up when you have step 2 completed. We're just multiplying 2 fractions. All right. Once you have step 2 done, I would like you underneath put a 3 for step 3 and then follow step 3. Write the answer with the unit squared. So when you finish step 2, go ahead and finish step 3 and then give me a thumbs up when you have solved it. Awesome. Thanks, Will. Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Yosius. Thank you, Senna and Allison. And remember, we're just using those skills we've been using when we multiply 2 fractions. So if you need to go back a page or 2 in your notebook to look, you definitely can. If you're like, oh, I don't remember how to multiply fractions, you can go back and look. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Layla. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Michael. All right, I see a few people finishing up. All right, now let's check our answers. So when we look at our two fractions that we're multiplying, we talked about how multiplying is a little easier in the sense that there aren't as many steps as there are with adding and subtracting fractions, right? So we look at our two fractions, 3/4 and 1/2. We multiply the two numerators together. So what's 3 times 1, fifth grade? 3. And then what's 4 times 2? So our answer, our area, 3/8 centimeter squared. Or you could say 3/8 centimeter to the second power. That also works. So our area equals 3/8 centimeters squared. Give me a thumbs up if you got 3/8 centimeters squared as your final answer. Okay. Did anyone maybe forget to put the 2 in their answer? Yes. So you want to make sure you are squaring the answer. You are putting that exponent 2. All right. Are there any questions right now? Anything that is kind of bugging you that you want to ask about this? Michael.
So for the 2 and the 8, is that the different answer? Is that the different width of the lines for the triangles and squares or rectangles?
Okay, the 2 and the 8, is that what you said?
No, the 2 I think centimeters.
Oh, so yeah, that's, since this is 2 dimensions, we're using 2 dimensions, yes. So for this one, we're using length and width. Yep, but for like another shape, like for a triangle, you need the height times the base or the length. But again, it's 2 dimensions you're using, so you would still square it, even though you might be using different side lengths for it. Yep, but as long as you're using those 2 dimensions to find the area, you put that 2. Richie.
Will we ever do this with a cube?
Not right now. We might eventually. Mackenzie.
Isn't a square like double by itself, like times it by itself? Because 4 squared is 16.
So you're right. When we have a number with the square, you're taking it times itself. But since it's after the unit, that's just letting us know this is an area that we found of a 2-dimensional shape. Good question. Will.
Will we have practice?
Yes, we will have practice. Are we ready for practice?
Yes.
All right, let's label that practice section. Yep, practice. Find each area. Now, we're going to do one of these together because you will sometimes see problems like the one I just showed you where you just have the shape and they're labeled. Sometimes, though, you are going to have a grid, and we're going to do one of the grid examples together just so that you can see what it's looking for. Give me a thumbs up when you are ready to write some practice problems. Awesome. Awesome. There we go. Perfect. Nice job. Thank you to those of you who are keeping your voices off after you let me know you're ready. That's very responsible of you. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to get them all written down and then we will solve the first one together. Capiche? All right, so these are our 4 ones. So like I said, we're going to look at the grid together, the grid ones together, just so you can completely understand how to solve it. Let me put, yeah, it's funny how my hand brightens it up. So the first one, we have a rectangle, but it's kind of split up into a grid. So it has 3 rows. So I just use the 3 lines in my notebook paper to measure that out. And then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So you'll notice that the amount of rows, that coincides with the denominator over here in 1/3. And the amount of columns coincides with the 6 in our 4/6 yards. And what they're saying is, okay, we want to find the area of 1/3 and 4/6 yards, but this whole rectangle itself right now is 1 yard by 1 yard. So we're trying to find a part of this area. So that's why we're going to practice. This second one, it's similar, except it's different because we have two different fractions. So we have 3/4 inches as what we're finding. So this one split into 4 rows. So again, I just use 4 of the lines on my notebook paper and then 4 columns. So it's a 4 by 4 square or rectangle. And this one is 3 by 4. Then number 3 and 4, they're just two word problems asking you to find the area. So we've had practice with seeing a rectangle with its dimensions labeled. So I wanted us to have practice with these grid kind of problems and practice with word problems. So number 3 says, find the area of a rectangle with side lengths of 5/3 of a foot and 3/4 of a foot, or 5/3 feet and 3/4 foot. And then number 4, find the area of a square with side lengths of 3/8 of an inch. So give me a thumbs up when you have this all written down. I know it might take a little bit, and that's okay. Take your time. Yep. Not right away. At the end. Mm-hmm. So again, number 4, because I know on the smartboard it's a little hard to read. Number 4 says, find the area of a square with the side lengths of 3/8 of an inch. Give me a thumbs up when you have these written down. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know you're done. Thank you for giving me thumbs up when you're ready. And like I said, we're going to solve number 1 together. Thank you. Thank you, yes. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Lola. Yes, Frankie? Oh, thank you, Frankie. Nice job taking your time, making sure you're getting these written down and drawn out exactly how they should. That's great. Thank you, Richie. Again, for number 4, it says find the area of a square with side lengths of 3/8 of an inch. Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Michael. All right, I'm going to give it another minute to finish up. I see a few people finishing up the 3rd and 4th one. So number 3 says find the area of a rectangle with side lengths of 5/3 feet and 3/4 of a foot. And then number 4 says find the area of a square with side lengths of 3/8 of an inch. Thank you to those of you who are being patient while we wait for the rest of our classmates to finish. All right, let's look at number 1 together. So for number 1, it shows that this whole rectangle is technically 1 yard by 1 yard. However, the numbers in blue, that's the area we want to find. So the 4/6 by 1/3. Now, 5th grade, we could easily use the formula, right, to figure out what our area is. We could take the length times the width. However, I wanted to show you another way of doing this. Please put your book away. When you have a grid like this, and you could very easily draw your own grid if you wanted to. You would just want to, so let's say we had 1/3 times 4/6. We would draw a grid and we'd use the denominator. So our 1/3, we make sure it has 3 rows up and down. And then the 6, we had 6 columns across. So then you would just make a rectangle out of that. When we have a grid like this, we can fill in boxes to show what the area is going to be. So for example, when I look at this 1/3, is this 1/3 representing up and down or left and right? Up and down. So you'll notice we can look at this as 1 out of 3. So if I look here, I have 3 boxes going up and down. I can fill in 1 box out of 3. Go ahead and fill in 1 box out of 3. And I'm going to leave that for now. Then I can look at 4/6. Now is 4/6 representing up and down or left and right? Left and right. So then I can make sure 4 out of 6 boxes are filled in. Well, I already have 1 filled in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I filled in 4 out of my 6 boxes. If we had a fraction, let's say 1/3 was actually 2/3, and I had filled in 2 boxes here, then what I would do is then I would fill in this row the same amount that I did the first row. But we only have 1 here. So how many boxes have I filled in total, 4th grade? Or 5th grade? Goodness, I was thinking. I filled in 4. How many boxes are there total in this entire grid? Why don't you go ahead and count? Michael?
18.
Yes, there are 18. So 4 out of 18. Let's write that off to the side. I filled in 4 out of 18. Now, let's go ahead and actually solve using our formula and see if we get the same thing. So area equals length times width. So area equals, our length is 4/6 times our width, which is 1/3. So if I multiply across, 4 times 1 is 4. 6 times 3 is 18. Now, am I done? What am I missing? What am I missing? There are a few things I'm missing. Layla? I'm missing my unit. Now, what is my unit for this one? Yards. What was that, Will? Yards squared. Awesome. What else could I do here if I wanted to? I can simplify. 4 and 18. What goes into both of those? Mackenzie? 2. If I divided both of them by 2, I'll do it up here. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. That gets me 4 divided by 2 is 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9, and I'm still going to use that yard squared. Yard squared. I'm going to put a box around it to show that that's my answer. A square and a square. Yep. That says yard squared. So we can use grids when it comes to finding areas. Now, over here for number 2, you do the same thing. However, do you notice how the numerator over here, it's a 3 instead of a 1? Yeah. So you would end up filling in how many boxes here? 3. How many boxes would I fill in up here? Also 3. Now, can I just leave it like an L, like 3 and 3? No, I would have to fill in all those boxes that line up with them. So go ahead, try your hand at number 2, and then you can also go ahead and solve number 3 and 4, which it's just finding the area, but instead of drawing it out, it's in words and sentences. I will know you are ready. You've finished all 4 of them when you either sitting giving me a thumbs up, or I see you quietly reading, writing, or drawing. Okay, so we can't make it like an L, right? This also. So we need to fill in boxes, but I have to make sure. Yeah. Well, perfect. Thanks, Will. yet because we'll still be looking at fractions and we'll be able to back at it. So, we can't make it work. So, I'm going to give you a few more moments, and if you're getting stuck on maybe number 2, you can move on to the word problems, and we will look at all of these together. So if you're getting stuck on number 2, doing that by yourself, move on to the word problems, and then we'll look at number 2 together, because it's a little different from number 1. Isn't it? I'll give you another minute or so. All right, 5th grade, we're going to take a look at these together. Now, if you haven't finished all 4, that's okay. We're still going to look at them together. Please put aside any books you may be reading, any drawings you may be working on, or any pieces of writing you might be working on. Awesome. So let's take a look at number 2 together. So if we follow the steps we did with number 1, we're going to look at first our width, or 3/4 of an inch. So how many boxes should I fill in on the left side, 5th grade? 3. 3 out of 4. So I'd fill in 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Then, looking up top, my length, 3/4, it's the same, isn't it? 3 out of 4. Well, I already have 1 filled in, so 1, 2, 3. Now, does that show me the area of 3/4 by 3/4? No, I can't leave it like an L. What we then do is then we fill in any remaining boxes that would be a part of this rectangle or square we've created. So I need to make sure that these 2 boxes are filled in for the second and the third columns as well. How many of you got stuck when you got to like this L shape and like, what do I do? How many of you may have gotten a little stuck there? Yeah, awesome. Thanks for telling me. So then we go ahead and we just fill in the rest of the boxes that match up with the ones we colored in. So you can kind of think of the boxes we fill in along the left and the top, that's kind of our guide as to where we fill in the rest. So now here, does this look more like the area of a square or a rectangle? Yeah. Yes. So then I count how many I colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Out of, how many boxes are total here, 5th grade? 16. Now, can I simplify 9/16? No, I cannot. What is our unit? Inches squared. Inches squared. Awesome. And if you wanted to check your work, we could plug in using our formula, A equals length times width. So if I take my length, which is 3/4, times my width, which is 3/4, equals 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. Did I get the same answer? I did. So 9/16 inches squared. Awesome. So 5th grade, I recommend if you're not sure if you filled in the boxes correctly, check your work by just using our formula. A equals L times W. Okay, now let's look at number 3. So for number 3, zoom in a little bit. There we go. We were supposed to find the area of a rectangle with side lengths of 5/3 feet and 3/4 of a foot. I always think it helps if I draw a picture. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture, and you guys can do this whenever you want to. So we have 5/3 of a foot and 3/4 of a foot. So 5/3 is larger than 3/4, so I'm going to put the 5/3 as the length, since that's the longer side. So 5/3 and 3/4. So if I use my formula, remember it's A equals length times width. So A equals, my length is 5/3, times the width, which is 3/4. 5 times 3 is what?
15.
It is 15. Thanks, Zoe. And what is 4 times 3? It is 12. Awesome. Now, 5th grade, what kind of fraction is this?
Improper.
It's an improper fraction. So, raise your hand if you think you turned it into a mixed number correctly. First, whisper to the person next to you, what would this be as a mixed number? All right, ready to rock? On the count of 3, let's say together what we think this would be as a mixed number. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I heard a couple different ones, but it sounded like most of them were correct. Now, if we do this just like standard, 12 goes into 15 once, so that's my whole number. Well, that only gets me to 12. So 12, 13, 14, 15. It takes 3 more to get to 15. Then we have 12 as our denominator. Now, I heard 1 and 3/12. Awesome. But can we simplify this even more? What number goes into both 3 and 12?
4.
3. 3. 4 can go into 12, but it can't go into 3. So if we divide by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Now, what's my unit here, 5th grade?
Feet.
Feet? Feet.
Squared.
Look at our word problem. Feet
I was looking at
squared. He was looking at the other one. Yep. 1 1/4 feet squared. Now, 1 3/12 is technically correct, but you guys know that we always try to simplify it as far as it will go. Yep. So 1 1/4 foot squared. All right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Then we had number 4. Same thing, different word problem. So find the area of a square with the side lengths of 3/8 of an inch. Now, 5th grade, how many of you, when you were looking at this, may have thought, wait, they only told me one side length. I need 2. How many of you may have thought that at first, though? You're like, wait a minute. Why is it okay that they only gave us one side length? Chanel? Because it's a what shape? A square. A square has all equal sides. So if we know the side length of one, we know the side length of all. So in my picture, instead of drawing a rectangle, I'm going to draw a square. They're the best I could do. Eyeballing it, Will. Thanks. So I know that both will be 3/8 of an inch. So my formula is A equals L times W. So area equals length, which is 3/8, times the width, which is 3/8. Whisper to the person next to you, what did you get as your answer for number 4? Whisper. All right. On the count of 3, I want you to tell me what you got as your answer for number 4. 1, 2, 3.
964 inches squared.
Yes. We get, so 3 times 3 is 9. 8 times 8 is 64. Now, is there anything that can go into both 9 and 64? There is not. So 9 and 64, our unit is inches, and we found the area, so squared. I'm going to write that a little bit bigger so you can see it better. So 9 and 64 inches squared is our answer. All right. Yes, Mackenzie.
Or you can do 1,828.
But we want the most simplest form, don't we? Yeah.
You could do 900.
All right. Ready to rock. Ready to rock. All right. Close your eyes and put your head down. Close your eyes and put your head down. Now, I know that filling in the grids may have been a little tricky, or maybe pulling some information out of the word problems may have been a little tricky, but I want you to think about just having a rectangle, being told what its length and width is, and finding the area of it. Show me on your hand 1 through 5 with your eyes closed. How do you feel about that? 1 through 5. You have a rectangle, its sides are labeled, finding the area. Show me, how do you feel about that? Okay. Okay. Then, now I want you to reflect on using that grid method, filling in the grid. How do you feel about that? Okay. Now I want you to reflect on the word problems. How did you feel about the word problems? 1 through 5, how did you feel? Okay, hands down. Hands down. Open your eyes, lift up your head. Take out your math workbook. In your math workbook, please open up to page 491. 491. Ask someone, I've already said it 3 times. All right, so on page 491, you will circle number 1, number 2, number 6, number 7, number 10, and number 13. I'm going to repeat it. So on page 491, you are circling number 1, number 2, number 6, number 7, number 10, and number 13. Go ahead, get started on your work. I will turn on some work music for us. Nice job today, 5th grade.